Hello, hello. This is Critical Mess. It is episode Dirty 30. It's a podcast where three dudes in the ad business rap about movies that critics and audiences don't agree on. I am Nick Honeywell. I'm here with Gris Griswold and Brian McCullough. Producer Ben is chilling with us tonight. Say what's up, people.
This is Gris. What's up, gang?
Hey, this is Brian McCullough. Notable. I'm very noticeable. And I'm also a notable spokesperson for the 1986's time-forgotten classic film, Flight of the Navigator.
Ooh, yeah, agreed. Good
I don't
movie.
know why. I just felt like I had to call that out.
Oh, I like it. Well, we're going to do an icebreaker. We always do that to get started. And I think this is a fun one. I think you guys will have an immediate reaction to this one, I hope. But here we go. What's one of those movies that it just seems like everybody loves, or most people love, right? But you just don't get it. You just don't get it. You just don't like it. You tried, and it didn't get there for you. I can start if you guys need a second on this one.
I can answer.
Please.
Every Marvel movie, but specifically, I did not get Endgame. I mean, you know, sure, Avengers was like, I watched it, I'm like, okay, I get it. Age of Ultron, liked it. Infinity War, cool. Endgame, the fucking highest grossing movie of all time that every single person thinks is a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. It was not good at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and I'm sure I agree with you. All right, I'll jump in. I'm going to go with, and people that know me might know my answer to this already because I've bitched about this movie a lot. Inception. I do not like Inception at all, and I tried to watch it many, many times, fell asleep many, many times. Great cast.
It's got your boy Tom Hardy.
It's got Tom Hardy,
Leo.
You know, obviously, you know, great director. Well, kind of. Well, you know my thoughts there.
Yeah.
But obviously, someone who's skilled, very skilled director. And a cool idea, I think.
Hans Zimmer score.
Sort of. Hans Zimmer. It seems like it's got all the pieces. They didn't get put together in the right way for me, and I really I have a deep disdain for that movie, actually. I kind of hate it.
You've never seen it all the way through?
I finally slogged my way through to the end, and I thought the end sucked, too. I really hated it, yeah.
That's a great selection there.
It's a terrible selection.
That's what everybody keeps telling me.
I'd have to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a lot of years.
It's a really hot take.
I don't think I
like. It's a good answer.
Yeah, I don't think I love the film or hate it that much I would. But I got to go with the recent one, The Killer by David Fincher. Recent. I thought that movie was terrible in every way possible. Like visually, you cannot hold a movie if it's that beautiful by Fincher himself. I don't think that holds a movie together. Like
you thought The Killer was terrible, in every way possible.
Yeah, it was just not. It was not for me. I don't know what it was.
Unironically,
and as much as I fucking love Fincher movies and will rewatch multiples of his, that was a tough one to like him with Inception. I just had a really hard time. I had multiple watches to get through it.
For the record, I'm not saying Endgame is terrible in every way possible. I'm saying I didn't like it. Those are big
I know
words,
they're strong
man.
words. It's a hot take. Yeah.
Okay, respect.
Mm-hmm. I actually have one for this one. It's Saltburn.
Ooh, dang!
You did hate that, didn't you?
Hated that movie.
You did
much.
hate that. I remember us talking about that. I loved it.
Oof.
Ben, what scene would you say was your least favorite scene?
Did anything make you uncomfortable?
No, it wasn't that it made me uncomfortable. It just felt like edgelordy. Like
it made me uncomfortable.
It felt like they were doing it just for shock value,
sure,
as opposed to the service of the story. And I did not enjoy it at all. And I watched it twice just to make sure that it was.
I watched it twice for good measure.
I paused it. I zoomed in.
The 4K was beautiful. Yeah.
I rewound it.
All right. Well, we're not talking about Saltburn tonight. We are talking about a film from the year of our Lord 1989. It is called Roadhouse.
Can I buy you guys a drink? Guess not.
Patrick Swayze is
Dalton.
I thought you'd be bigger.
Opinions vary.
When he's around, anything can happen.
How does a guy like you end up a bouncer?
Just lucky, I guess.
And usually does.
If somebody gets in your face, I want you to be nice.
Don't be rude!
Ask him to walk, but be nice.
Help this gentleman to the door.
Until it's time to not be nice.
So says the fighting philosopher.
Patrick Swayze.
For that line of work, I thought you'd be bigger.
Gee, I've never heard that before.
Roadhouse.
The old Roadhouse, not the Jake Gyllenhaal thing or whatever. This movie, it had a budget of about 15 mil, raked in about 60, so it did pretty well. And it's a cult classic too, so it certainly has done even better than that over time, I'm sure. So this movie was directed by Rowdy Harrington. What a great name.
Great name.
And so appropriate
Fake
for
name.
this movie.
That's not real.
It's got to be fake.
Whatever. It's cool. Can anybody name another Rowdy Harrington film?
No.
Ratatouille?
What? Saltburn.
I didn't think so. But I will say, how could you guys forget he directed Gladiator?
So wait, what?
Not the 98 Gladiator, or not the 2000 Gladiator with Russell Crowe.
Well, no. But he did direct Gladiator from 1992 with Brian Dennehy and Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, those are two names.
What a twist.
How could you guys forget that?
Wow.
Those are two names.
Probably because there's a way
Exist.
better film called Gladiator that came out a few years later.
Well, he only directed a handful of movies and not much notable. I guess the only other one, which I have weirdly seen, is Striking Distance with Bruce Willis. You guys remember that
I've
one?
heard of that, but I've not seen it.
Yeah, I remember thinking it sucked as a kid who wasn't supposed to be watching it, so it must have been really bad. So anyway, this movie, Roadhouse, written by R. Lance Hill and Hilary Henkin. A lot of H's. This movie stars Patrick Swayze, Ben Gazzara, Kelly Lynch, Sam Elliot, even Keith David in this one.
Keith
makes a
David,
quick appearance.
bartender.
Love Keith David.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just a pro. Quick refresher about the criteria for the movies we talk about on this show. So, excuse me. Thank you to our sponsor.
Moday Day.
The movie's got to be fresh with audiences and rotten with critics, or vice versa on Rotten Tomatoes, and the disparity needs to be about 20% or so. So on Rotten Tomatoes, Roadhouse is a pretty trashy 43% with critics and a solid but underwhelming 67% with audiences. So we've got a 24% disparity here. So,
And
not bad.
Likewise, a 5.4 out of 10 from critics and 7.4 out of 10 from audience. So pretty close there.
Yep. Obviously, we're going to be spoiling this movie. Came out in 1989, so hope that's okay. And also, watch the movie before you listen to us rant about it. It might make your experience a little more fun. So let's get into this, guys. First exposure to Roadhouse, and how many times have we seen it over the years?
My first exposure was 2 weeks ago. I watched it for the first time ever, and watched it again 2 days ago, and so twice. One of those movies that I was just aware of my whole life, and I just had so many preconceived. Matter of fact, I think this movie was my answer to a previous icebreaker. There was like a question of like, what's a movie that you always had thought one thing of until you saw it, and then you realized it may have been my answer. I can't remember, but that's kind of what this movie was to me. It's like I finally saw it, and it was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, this was definitely not what I was expecting. I've known about it, but I don't think I've seen a single scene of this movie until a week ago when I watched it for the first time. And then I don't know if it was until recently that this came into my mindset, because it's the last 10 years or so people started to ramp it up as a cult classic.
I feel like it has gotten popular.
I feel like it's been the last 5 to 10 years that it's gotten more hype and more hype. And I don't know if that's just a PR firm pushing it because the new movie was coming out or what, but
I think that's kind of true. I think it got bigger after Swayze died, probably.
Yeah.
oh, that's true.
And I do think this movie was kind of always on the radar, though, sort of. It's just sort of a movie you kind of knew about.
It was never forgotten, like Flight of the Navigator has been forgotten.
Sure,
It's
sure.
always been, you're right, it's always been like, it's probably on cable, I don't know, syndicated and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, so we're all pretty new to the Roadhouse. So I did see this movie maybe about 5 years ago or something like that, just because I thought I should watch it, and I did, and then I watched it again last night, so 2 times. So this is Critical Mess. We're talking about Roadhouse from 1989, the OG Roadhouse. We are sponsored tonight by Old Elk. Old Elk Blended. I believe we're sponsored by the Blended Straight.
Blended straight bourbon whiskey.
The Blended Straight bourbon whiskey. There's a word we use to describe this whiskey. I think it sums up the whiskey nicely. The word is ambrosial. We also like to point out that this is Old Elk. This is not Old Deer. And, the elk is really the superior version of the deer, and we call it the Bruce Banner of deers, the muscular, strong, tough ruler of the forest deer.
Dare I say, a hint of gracefulness.
Oh,
but
total
a touch
grace.
of just pure raw power.
It's grace and power.
Grace
yes,
and power.
that's exactly what
Yep.
it is.
Majestic.
Yep.
So
Majestic.
anyways, thank you to our sponsor, Old Elk. We love you. So let's rate this movie, Roadhouse. I'm excited to hear the scores tonight, guys. Let's get into it.
This is going to be great.
Gris, go first.
I'll kick it off, guys. I got to go with an 83.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's gonna go
Love
high.
that.
I'm going
Oh,
up
man.
high.
I'm so excited about that.
The reason
That just tickles me.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this movie. It makes no sense in a lot of ways, but it had a lot of heart. I mean, it's just such a strange film. And I was between like a 70 to 80 score, and I just recently watched it again in the last couple of days, and it's just, I giggled and laughed and thought so much of this was enjoyable, so I couldn't get away from pushing it into the 80s. So
I love
83.
I love that you just described it as a strange film, because I totally agree with you, and I feel like on its face, it's not a strange film at all. It's like, oh, it's just, whatever, it's Roadhouse, it's an action movie. But no, it's not. It's different.
It's so different.
I'm going to give it a Rowdy 69, boys. A Rowdy 69.
Perfect.
And I think that speaks to me not only enjoying the film, but recognizing some really good qualities about the film. It's not a movie that I really feel like I want to rewatch over and over again, even though it's weird to say, because like as it's on right now, I'm like loving every single freaking scene, including the one where he turns the fuck call, for a great fuck call. He turns it into a Buick, which, like, what the hell? Like, that's great. That's amazing. Rowdy, good job. So yeah, 69. It's just right there. Good movie. I recognize
He
it's
dots
great.
the eye.
He dots the eye. That's so funny.
So I'm going to give this movie the same score I gave last week's movie.
National Treasure. Wait, what
You
did we
can
do?
remember what I gave the last one. It was a 71.
Ooh.
Oh,
71. So Brian, you and I are pretty
scores.
close tonight.
Back to
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Unlike National Treasure, where we were a little bit different.
Totally different movie.
But yeah, no, I had fun with this movie. And I liked this movie the first time I saw it. I think it's not a great movie, but definitely a good movie and a super enjoyable movie. So
Let me just say one thing before I forget to say it. This movie could have been absolute trash. I can
sure.
see 10 different ways that this
yeah.
movie could have been absolute trash, and it avoided every single pitfall, and it stayed exactly where it needed to be.
all right, you're listening to Critical Mess. We're talking about Roadhouse. And now we're going to talk about kind of what this show's all about, right? Why do critics and audiences not agree on this movie? And they do not. So, this is one that the critics didn't like, right? They were at, I believe, a 43%. And audiences did like. Audiences didn't love, though. We'll point that out.
I feel like critics and audiences were just kind of dancing around the 50 mark, I mean, audience was 67, critic 43, but they're kind of just not too polarized, kind of dancing around that middle area.
Yeah.
Well, the critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes says, whether Roadhouse is simply bad or so bad it's good depends largely on the audience's fondness for Swayze and tolerance for violently cheesy action. Variety says, its vigilante justice, lawlessness, and wanton violence feel ludicrous in a modern setting. Guys, how of its times is this movie?
Very. I would say very. Yeah.
It's not timeless.
It's not time. It has some timeless elements for sure.
Doesn't mean it doesn't hold up. It just means
That's a good way to
it's
say
of
it.
its time.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Sure.
Because I was just watching The Fugitive the other day. That's a timeless movie. Like that movie could have come out in
it's a
64, 94, or
near perfect movie.
2014. Yeah. And it's funny because some movies can really be of their time. And that's not a bad or a good thing. It's just a tone thing. So
Right.
how about Nigel Floyd of Time Out? Mindless entertainment of the highest order. Guys, is this mindless entertainment? Do you turn your brain off for this?
I think, as you alluded to earlier, on the surface it is, but it actually goes a little deeper. It's a little smarter than you think it's going to be.
I'll take your silence as agreement, Gris. Dave Kerr
Yes.
of the Chicago Tribune. What results instead is a monstrous hybrid, a grotesquely implausible, oversized character that thoroughly overshadows the poor actor himself. And another one along with that. Gene Siskel, also of the Chicago Tribune. Roadhouse is startling because of the intensity of its violence and because of Swayze's mindless posturing. So you have them talking about this character, this Dalton character, overshadowing poor Swayze, the poor actor, and then Swayze's mindless posturing. I was a little bit confused by the tandem of those two reviews together. I guess my question for the room there is: was Swayze right for this role?
Oh, I thought he was perfect for it. Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, I thought he was great for this role.
I don't think I could see anybody playing this role better than Swayze.
No.
And I don't feel like he was overshadowed by Dalton.
Me neither. I think that's a bad take.
Yeah, bad take. Agree.
Roger Ebert. This is not a good movie. But viewed in the right frame of mind, it's not a boring one either. I mean,
Yeah.
he's
I usually
entitled.
agree with Ebert, and not quite all the way there, but
Not quite
sort of.
there. And then finally, Adam Kempenaar. Silly, yet plays it straight, and everyone involved knows exactly the type of genre pleaser they're making. Aspires to be nothing more and nothing less than a goofy experiment in translating the arc of the Western lone gunman to being a bouncer. I really resonated with that review because after watching this again, it instantly occurred to me that this is a Western through and through. And that's what I loved about it, because Westerns are just like, they're kind of a simpler type of movie.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all Westerns are simple. I mean, there's much more complex Westerns, but typically as a genre, you know what you're getting, and you have a very similar sort of arc. That's the reason it's called a Western, is it kind of points to not just it taking place in the American West, but it's a genre that can take place anywhere. And I think that Roadhouse is an absolute Western. So when I read that, I thought, okay, I'm not crazy.
I hadn't really made that connection. I totally feeling that now, and I love Westerns.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
that. I mean, I got Grit TV on at my house right now.
Nice.
I'm playing for my
It
dog.
runs 24/7.
So yeah,
Harry's watching some Grit TV.
Yeah, he
Nice.
is. So
baller.
I totally see that now, and that actually,
Right?
I get it.
Don't you
get
love
it.
that?
I thought this was a Western, had never heard that description because I did not read or listen to podcasts before or after watching this. I tried to come into this pretty blank, but 100%. It's so simple.
Yeah.
A sheriff comes to town.
Yeah.
Cleans
Yeah.
up the town. Yeah.
Or even the sheriff is sort of the infamous sheriff is sort of recruited to the
Oh,
town,
yeah.
to the war torn.
I did like
town.
that. Yeah.
It's
Almost like Three Amigos.
Yeah, kind
Yeah.
of like Three Amigos. So yeah, critics are they're kind of nobody is completely shitting on the movie, but they're not. I mean, a lot of 2 out of 4s here, and I think they're saying it's just kind of there's nothing below the surface is kind of the vibe I'm getting from critics here.
I don't know how they didn't see anything else below the surface. There was so much to dig into with this movie and the characters. I think one big downside where there were a lot of characters. I forgot there were so many old, bearded, rustic guys from the old town that I couldn't tell, was that that guy or was that this guy? They looked too similar. But for some of the audience reviews, we'll run through some of these. Movie R, it was an okay flick, better character story than the 2024 remake, but Jake Gyllenhaal is a better actor and fit the part way better. 2 out of 5. Now, would you guys? I don't know if you guys have all seen the new one, but I watched that one this week as well. Did not touch this with a 20-foot pole. Like, it was completely different. Like, it was the same movie rehashed for a new generation. Essentially, there's a lot of things in the 89 version they could not do today. So I think they had to reinvent a lot of things. But do you agree that Gyllenhaal was a better fit for the character of Dalton?
No.
Didn't see it.
Well, you didn't see it, but do you think Gyllenhaal in this movie, in the 89 version, do you think he could jump in there and take over for Swayze? Just as a blank fan of Gyllenhaal.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, but as we've said, I think Swayze was the guy.
Yeah.
And I've always just assumed I was a fan of Gyllenhaal, and we'll get more into this later, but I don't know if I love him or not. I think I do, but I might hate him. And in Roadhouse, I know he was ripped and he was beating the shit out of everyone effortlessly, but he just did not have the masculine pull for me. He did not have that rough. It's kind of the way he talked, real kind of high, and he was kind of jokey and smug. And Swayze here, he's a man of few words. Only speaks when he needs to. Half the shit he said is like all-time one-liners, and like he's just like so hardened. And they keep talking about, I thought you'd be a lot bigger, and he is a smaller guy, but like look at Bruce Lee. Like, I don't think size matters, And Swayze, I think Swayze's a better Dalton than Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, Gyllenhaal can get ripped. Obviously, we all know that. He's done it in multiple films now. But I think
if Ryan Gosling played the Dalton character instead of Gyllenhaal, that would have been a better match.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy could have
Tom
done
Hardy.
it.
Tom Hardy can do a lot.
100%.
Yeah, gosh. There's something about, I think just watching Swayze in this, there's not very many times he smiles or laughs enough unless he sees somebody that he likes, like his friend or the girl he likes. There's only just a few scenes where he cracks a small little smile. But
the rest of the times he's like
he's just smoldering.
He's smirking at something like
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll keep going with some of these. Inspire you. Better than the new one. At least this one makes more sense. 3.5 out of 5.
It does make more sense. Agreed.
Yeah. Brian C. Maybe it's our Brian C. or another Brian C. But had to go back and watch this after seeing the remake. Remarkable how two movies with basically the same plot can be so far off. The original hits every mark the new one misses. Endearing characters, evil diabolical guy. The new one is such silly. Better ending. Don't waste time seeing the new one. Just watch the Patrick Swayze version. 4.5 out of 5.
Wait,
Brian C.
Oh yeah, okay. It's funny how everyone's talking about the new one. That's interesting. And what C? Like McCullough? Like, do I have 2 C's in the middle of my name?
Yeah,
Like how could
C.
I be possibly
It's
that
you.
Brian?
It's you.
All right.
Every Brian's you.
Kind of true.
But a lot of these reviews, a lot of these reviews were actually just shitty reviews for the new one. I wish people would pay attention when they do the reviews, but a lot of these were just bad reviews for the 2024 version, and they just didn't pay attention.
Fucking idiots.
Gorfolomew T.
Bartholomew T. I think I had some of that before I went to bed last night.
That might be our Gorptholomew T, or it might be another.
Is that a real name? Am I missing that name in the
No, it is now. It is a great name.
Gorp?
It's like Dungeons and Dragons name.
It's great. Who the fuck puts 2 pool tables in the same room right next to each other? You can look at this as an 80s schlocky fun, but there's no doubt the cliches are apparent and more in a cringy way. Grade C. 3.6 out of 10, 2 out of 5. He had 3 different ratings in this.
What?
You like that? I knew Brian would like this.
C?
He gave it a grade C.
2.5 out of 10 is C.
He
That's
gave
you're
it
fucking held back a year.
He gave it a grade C in his review, and then he also wrote 3.6 out of 10 at the start, and then he rated it 2 out of 5.
3.6 out of 10. Wow, what a
It's
precision.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like 111
We're one to talk,
15
though.
proof.
This review is unnamed, but it's popcorn emoji, popcorn emoji, popcorn emoji, tomato emoji, 5 out of 5.
Oh, that's
Okay,
cool.
I respect.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pet Midgets 4, a true American cult classic. Swayze delivers a masterful performance, fleshing out a character that has more depth than most 2024 movie characters. I can agree with that. Well, it's a bit cheesy and over the top by our standards now. It's a spot-on depiction of the era. Must see, 5 out of 5.
Spot on depiction of the era. Love it.
Yeah,
sure.
very much so.
All the way down to the shape of the naked breast.
Yep. A lot of boobs in this. Hard R.
A little bit of pregame talk.
In this last one, C's T, the bold and beautiful Kung Fu Terminator. So bad it's great. 8 out of 10.
Kung Fu Terminator.
You like that? Wow. You missed it.
That was unintentional.
That was
but
great. The reviews were hard to kind of read, but a lot of them were just new from the 2024. But a lot of the reviews were from the last couple years. I mean, I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled. None of them were from like 13, 14 when you kind of see when Rotten Tomatoes came out of
Do you think a lot of the reviews, do you think a lot of the audience reviews, let me rephrase. Do you think the audience score has gone up in the last 6 months? Like, do you think there are people watching the new Roadhouse and then going, oh, I've either never seen the original or I kind of want to revisit it, and they're going and watching that, and then they're going, wow, this is really good, and they're giving it like 5 stars? I wonder if like you could see a histogram of the score if it's gone up recently.
100%.
But they're also clearly fucking up, right? Because they're rating the new Roadhouse.
It doesn't
as
matter
the
because it's
old
the same
Roadhouse,
production house,
which
same PR
bringing
firm.
down the.
Yeah, they're all making the same money. So whether you go and watch this one or you go and watch or you drive traffic to one or the other, they don't care. They just want people to go see
But it's
it.
bringing down the score.
No,
But
you're right though.
killing
like,
the score. Yes, that's the sucky part. But I think it is ramping upward. I think
But
more
maybe it
people like the
balances
original.
though. Maybe it balances because you've
Maybe.
got both. You've
Sure.
got,
Yeah,
you've got
yeah,
people
yeah,
who don't
yeah.
know what they're doing and they're going and rating this low, but then you have people who are going and rating it high, not because they think Roadhouse is a 5 out of 5, but they think compared to the new Roadhouse, the old one is a 5 out of 5. So maybe it balances. Who knows? It's a 67. It's not like it's a 97. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
mean, it doesn't say very few are glowing about this movie. I mean, we can put it that way.
I think I felt like a lot of those were kind of glowing about this movie. Wouldn't you
Kind
say?
of. I mean, I don't know. It seemed kind of middling.
They
okay.
seem kind of
It did
mid,
seem
but
mid.
I heard people talking about this as like
I mean,
an
the-
American classic.
The last couple were a little more glowing. I
Okay.
feel like the first few were not. But anyways,
Yeah.
but we liked it.
We liked it.
we did enjoy it.
But now we're going to talk about what we didn't like in this movie as we go to our incredibly cleverly named segment, Flip the Script. And yeah, let's trash this movie because we all liked it.
Guys, let's go round robin on this. Let's each say one thing that we that we didn't like about the movie and go around until we run out and see
Great,
who
let's
lasts
do
the
it.
longest.
I like it.
I'll start. Elizabeth is a terrible kisser.
Ooh. Yeah,
So
I can agree with
Elizabeth
that.
is Dalton's main love interest. She's the doctor. And I was like, something's not right whenever they get to kissing. And I don't care about kissing. I don't care about kissing. I don't care. But you guys, I couldn't help but to notice she's a terrible kisser.
Yeah.
And part of it is because I just watched Wet Hot American Summer, and goddamn Paul Rudd making out with the chicks in that. I mean, that's some damn good kissing. I don't care about kissing. But anyway, maybe that's what skewed me a little bit. She's a bad kisser. Minus 0.5 points for that.
All right. I don't know how to follow that. So yeah, I guess I kind of have a larger concern than the kissing concern.
I started with my weakest.
I just felt like overall, like a lot of the acting was just pretty hammy. It was pretty hammy. It was hard to like kind of lose yourself in this movie because it was just so over the top, and just so ridiculous. And the dialogue was just kind of okay. It was good for the movie, I guess, but it wasn't like it didn't help with immersion, I guess.
Yeah. Who would you say is the biggest culprit? Could you point to one person, or am I putting you on the spot?
Gosh.
Or who wasn't? Who wasn't?
I'll tell you who was bad. Like all the cronies.
The villain, the
Just
henchman.
like and they had a lot of lines, and kind of a lot of and there were a lot of them, and they were all terrible.
You guys, my favorite henchman was the fat guy.
With the
now there were two.
suspenders?
There was a
With the-
good.
yeah,
there was
with
a good one and a bad one.
You're spoilers. But I'm talking about the henchman, the
bad one.
I wouldn't call the good fat guy a henchman. I'd call him a bouncer. But yeah, there was two fat guys.
Sure.
Each side,
I
good
feel
side,
saying the
bad
word
side.
Fat. I'm not trying to fat shame, but
it was a
clearly there were
larger
two guys
person.
that were much
I was
larger
confusing
than
them
everyone
throughout
else.
the film. I was like,
Yeah.
is this the good one? Is this the bad one? I didn't know.
But I kind of liked the bad one. I kind of liked him. A little
Didn't they
bit.
both wear suspenders
They
at one
both
point?
wore
They both,
suspenders.
yeah.
It's just-
Only
yeah.
one of them had top of the stomach between the breastbone sweat in every scene. Middle of chest sweat.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
sweating in this movie.
Yeah.
Lot
A lot of sweat.
So much sweat.
I think it's a real sweat too. It's not like the spritzed on sweat. All right, Gris.
I got to go with the number of characters. My God, I feel like they picked 40 characters for the good guys side.
You're doing a real good job talking, by the way, right now as we're all staring
Yeah.
at the scene that's happening.
The sex scene in the inside the pantry
I'm
of the
really
bar.
impressed that you were
Yeah.
stringing a sentence together.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I agree.
continue.
It had eye lock on the screen, but your brain was still
I know.
moving like in a really impressive way,
Yeah.
Chris.
How
So
you guys really-
nice work.
Yeah.
By the way, it's the scene where Steve's taking his break. If you've seen the movie.
They are taking a break.
You got to
Taking a
see
break.
this movie.
Gris, go ahead.
I think it was just the number of characters, and you could tell that they had a plan to have like each side had one guy to one guy, like equals. Like they had the big guy, the big tall muscular guy. They had the trucker. They had they had 40 people on the good, one bar and 40 people at the guys. What was the guy's name? Wesley. At his cronies or whatever. And they were bouncing back and forth in and out of all these guys. And then you'd see them come up later dressed differently. And you're like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
A lot to keep track of. All right, my next one is regarding the Double Deuce. Guys, are there really that many clubs out there that need 10 plus bouncers? Like, how many bouncers? I've been to clubs and there's like 3. Like, it was a little bit weird.
of.
It was a little strange, the
It
sort
was.
of setup that they had going there. It was almost like they were bouncers for like a bar that was as large as like Wembley Stadium, and there was like 100,000 people there.
Yeah.
It seemed a little bit forced.
Sure. I'll pile on there. This is similar, but I think a little different. I love the premise that there's like this roving band of quote unquote coolers who like travel the country and like clean up rowdy
And there's
bars.
celebrities. Everybody knows them.
But that's just that's not
That doesn't
a
happen.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a great idea for a movie, but that it's hard. Once again, hard to suspend disbelief.
Somewhat lazy writing there, I would say.
Yeah.
Also, pre-internet. So everybody knew these coolers
Yeah.
just pre-internet.
Right.
mouth.
Yeah.
yeah,
somehow.
they'd heard about them in
Yeah.
different states. Yeah.
All right. Nick, or I guess that was yours, Gris. You got any more? Flip the scripts. We're going round robin here, remember?
No, I don't
Okay.
have any more flip.
I'll give one more about the Double Deuce. I don't believe any bar could stay in business with that amount of destruction on a nightly basis. I mean, every glass, every table, every bottle, every chair, completely destroyed every night. I mean, their
Financially-
table budget has got to be $50,000 a week.
No doubt.
I mean, how is this a viable, thing? And it's almost like the fights are like encouraged there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like there's like a fight and everybody's like, oh shit, call the cops. Like, yeah, it's just a fight. You know, not quite buying.
But
that.
financially, that bar guy he had enough money to make a new bar. Like he's like, oh, we're going to make the Double Deuce. I have this big plan, this grand plan to put all the money back into this place. I was like, where the fuck he didn't make it from that bar.
Yeah, I know, right? Seriously.
There were 4 fights in that first scene when he gets there. Like just randomly guys punching each other just out of nowhere. Like when the guy goes, let's get out of here and get nipple to nipple.
Yeah.
Like then the guy punches him.
Let me ask you guys this. How, like, we're all old and lame now, but how back in your heyday, how often would you go out, like out to like, I'm talking about like nightclubs and bars and stuff like that, dive bars, wherever
like in our 20s.
Like, yeah, in your 20s, like how many times a week?
Yeah. College, it would be like pretty regular. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe
Sunday.
For me, it was probably about 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was a big. We got our drinking out early, so high school days. So once college came, I got more serious about all that stuff. So I skipped it, and I was a house party guy. But it was probably every other day.
I didn't go to the bar for the alcohol.
Well, yeah,
went for the pool.
I went for the pool.
For the pool game, yeah, pool and darts.
No, Mike. So my question there is, and how many times of all of those times we've been out to all the various bars we've been to, have you actually seen a fist fight? Less, you can probably count on one hand, probably, right?
Definitely, yeah.
I've seen a few.
Yeah, a few,
sure.
but not.
I'd say
like,
handful tops.
I would say the over-under is like 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
But this is why it's a Western. It's a saloon. You
Right.
know? Like
Yeah.
You're out in the West. You're just like,
Yeah, but even before they even go out there, he's got a knife pulled on him, and he's got this whole thing happening at the bandstand before they even go out there. It's like, I don't know. I guess I'm nitpicking a bit here because I just feel like I feel like they came up with the idea first, and then they tried to figure out a way to write it, and it didn't quite connect. They didn't quite figure out how to explain, like, how the hell is there always a fight in every single scene? So
Yeah.
It's kind of here's what I liken it to. I liken it to whenever in an action movie somebody shoots a car and it explodes. It's like, okay, I get that you want an explosion. It's like, I get that you want to fight, but like, you need to I'm not buying it. And I've got one more flip the script after that. Nick?
Yeah, I'll give another one. I'm sorry, guys. The Tai Chi scene was just a little hard for me to stomach, and kind of a part of that is like, I also thought it was just a little ridiculous how he just like lives like across this sort of not very big lake, like,
I had a
from the
problem with the
richest
proximity,
guy in town. Like, I get they had to do that for some plot reasons, and they actually
it
kind
was
of
too
really
perfect.
did.
Yeah,
And so I can kind of forgive it, but those kind of, those two things were just a bit ridiculous.
He lived right across the lake from the dude. From like
the main
this, like this
villain.
poor little farm, and then right across the lake from Brad Wesley's compound, right?
Yeah.
And then also the Double Deuce was like in the same parking lot as like Red's automotive store. Everything there was like 2 settings.
Proximity was
it was all within walking distance because he walked home from the bar.
Yeah. And I got to be honest, I know it's a small town. I'm not docking points from the movie for that, but it was a little bit like,
That's
okay,
convenient.
this is convenient.
I'm docking points for the Tai Chi.
Sure. You're right. That's a whole different. All right, my last one. This it's a small one, but I want, maybe I'm just kind of bringing this up because maybe I missed something. Do you remember how Dalton and Elizabeth have that date? They've got that great date where they go out, and then like she like leave. It's like they leave on great terms. It's clearly their first date. There's a romantic vibe or whatever, and then like there's like a 6-month gap where like the Double Deuce gets completely renovated and rebuilt, and then like, it's almost like the next day for her. Then she comes over and then they have sex. What happens during the 6 to 9 months of renovation during the Double Deuce?
Yeah, it was the courtship process. He's a classy, chivalrous man.
Yeah.
So they were going on weekly dates.
Oh yes,
throughout
he was
this
giving her
time.
flowers.
Okay.
He was picking her up from work.
I feel like
Did you not see that movie?
I feel like she was like, it was like she hadn't seen him since that night of the date when they re-saw each other again on the night they had sex. But maybe
No,
I
you're right.
Oh, I am okay. Okay, well, I was giving you a benefit of the doubt. That's it. Those are my that's my flipping of the script. Script is flipped.
Yeah, I'm done too. Yeah, pretty good movie. All right, what do we do now? Well, we thank our sponsor, Old Elk. We love you, Bruce Banner of Deers.
You know how we had the Infinity Blend that they so graciously sent us?
The Infinity Blend.
I remember when they sent us stuff.
Not to be confused with Infinity War.
No.
I'm ashamed to even share the word.
Don't even share those realms, those
Infinity
worlds.
Blend. Well, what if next year their Christmas special craft they name ambrosial blend.
Ooh, yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. And we're going to go to the third digit after the decimal with proofing.
God. It's going to be like a negative exponent to where like it's going way like a 10,000th of a digit.
Yeah, we're going to get precise in this bitch.
What am I talking about?
We're going to get precise. All right, now we do themes and arcs. That's what we do. Themes, let's go in. I'll go in.
Do it.
Knee kicking. That was a big theme. And ball kicking too.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say ball kicking for sure.
But I'm actually kind of, I mean, I'm joking, obviously, but I'm kind of serious. It was funny how it was just like in every fight scene that was like, which was like the whole movie, it was like, they're going for the knees, they're going for the balls. It's effective.
I agree with you. I think fighting is a major theme of this movie.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there are so many different people. There's not just one guy who's fighting. There are so many different people who are all fighting each other, and it's not always Dalton v somebody.
Sure.
It's other people v other people. It's a whole thing, and there's a lot of knee kicking happening.
Yep. I'll keep going. I'll just run through these quickly
go
because
through
I thought
yours.
this movie actually had kind of a lot of themes. There's probably a lot more than one.
I agree. I've got 8 down.
My God.
Another theme was kind of just like the idea of like pushing your limits. Like, what are you capable of? How far can you go? How far can you take it? Which seems like a very 80s thing.
It's like when Swayze's doing that. He's hitting the punching bag and he's like climbing the rope and going crazy.
Yeah, and even the movie like itself is like, how far is this shit going to go? And the end gets pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
It goes beyond a roadhouse.
It does. So really just pushing the limits. Okay, another one, just the idea of just like order and chaos, right? You've got you've got these chaotic things happening, and then always trying to bring order to these very chaotic situations. And it kind of seems like the whole movie is like a mess that they're just trying to reconcile.
It's like a Western.
Like a Western.
Think about
yes.
Tombstone. Wyatt Earp comes, they clean that town up.
Yep. And I'll throw one more. Just the whole, kind of classic theme of like wealth and corruption and sort of like, Pottersville, Mr. Potter kind of running this town, and just the idea that, wealth corrupts.
Nice, Wonderful Life reference there. That's a perfect reference.
Yeah. So yeah, those are my themes.
Gris themes?
I only had one. The journey for redemption. Whether he finds it or not, I don't know if he really does.
Right, because he's got that flawed past.
Yeah, he's got the flawed past, obviously, and you get like kind of little hints at it, and you can kind of tell he's like broken from it. But at the end, he's still looking for it because he ends up killing somebody at the end brutally. So you're like multiple people. So you're like, it's kind of tough for him to actually have some type of redemption or arc.
But the main guy, Brad Wesley, he restrains himself and doesn't kill him.
Yeah,
and
so
that's a great.
Yeah.
I'm saying
that's an arc. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's the theme is the redemption.
Yeah.
The hunt for it and continuously looking for it and all that.
Yeah. Am I a monster? Am I just going to kill everyone I
and
come in?
It's hard because he literally just murders that guy, murders more people in the house as he just breaks into the man's home and murders a bunch of people.
But I think though that all of those people were actively trying to kill him, and Brad Wesley was defeated, and he gets that choice: am I going to kill him now, or am I going to let him go? He's beaten.
Yeah.
I'm reinforcing your point. That's a great point. Yeah.
Yep.
So mine, in order of importance to me, my themes were corruption and racketeering. I would say Wesley's character represents that. You mentioned corruption, Nick. Holding your ground. I think that's a theme. Kind of bravery, courage. Red and Tillman are the two guys I think that represented that. Red's the auto parts store guy. Tillman's the guy that owns the Double Deuce. They're always kind of balancing, like they're either paying their taxes or doing what they're told, or they're like standing up to somebody, and you see arcs there. The third strongest one for me was how to let go of the past. I think that's a strong one. Dalton's trying to let go of what he's done in the past. He's killed this person, and Garrett's trying to like free him of that guilt. Hey, you didn't know she was married. Yada yada. Friendship was a good theme here. Garret and Dalton. I mean, I know Garret doesn't show up till 2/3 the way through the movie, but like Garret and Dalton have clearly like ties and a good friendship, and there's sort of they have a fight and they make up, and then there's so that's a good. And then less and less important here. Can you love a monster? I think Elizabeth she kind of knows he's a monster when she first meets him. And that's one of the things I like about this movie. You don't have that classic bait and switch of like, girl meets guy hides who he truly is, guy's true character gets revealed to girl blows up and gets mad, and then they make up. That's like every romantic comedy, And in this, it's like girl meets guy who is monster. And girl likes that guy, and then they kind of wrestle around with that. And she's never horrified with.
Yeah, it was always on the surface. Yeah, that's interesting.
It was refreshing to me. And then revenge and reckoning. We talked about that one. And Jimmy is the character who represents that to me. He's like there's like the reckoning. It kind of reminded me of Doc Holliday and Michael Biehn plays him on Tombstone. You remember they were both. They were like equal.
Oh, I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah, what's the guy's name? Shit. Damn it, what's his name? I
It's
failed.
oh my
I failed as
gosh,
a human.
it's Johnny Ringo.
Yeah, Ringo.
Yeah.
Doc Holliday, Ringo, one of my favorite matchups ever in like villain hero. But like, I feel like they kind of had a matchup like that because you knew it was coming, and they were fighting the lessers, and they were kind of like leveling up, and then they finally fight each other at the end, and it's like a reckoning.
I love that movie so much.
Isn't that great?
They play it on Grit TV all the time.
Man, I wish we could talk about that.
I know.
Let's
Wish
make
we could
another
too.
podcast where we can just talk about any fucking movie we want.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Yeah, what were we doing?
Is that
with
what
this?
everyone else does?
That's what everybody else
How have we
does.
hamstrung ourselves this stupid format? And finally,
Damn it.
I have had knives as a theme.
Ooh,
knives.
I'm glad you brought
Boot
that
on the
up.
knives.
What a missed opportunity to integrate a ballad song.
Yep.
I mean, come
Right.
on, late '80s.
There should have been
bad guys.
Jimmy should have had a ballad song.
Should have
Yeah.
definitely had a ballad song. That was a major
Missed
oversight,
opportunity.
but that's okay. It's okay. I'll let it slide.
And then my last theme, prison rape.
Yeah, there was a heavy line in that last fight scene.
Kind of a joke, but
That was,
but yeah.
yeah.
It was
Well,
a-
I think
it
we'll
was
get to
a-
that.
Do you think
It was
that
a-
line was scripted?
oh, it had to be.
I hope
Oh, it had to have been.
Otherwise, that's Brad Swayze would be like, "What the fuck?"
I'm telling you,
Oh, that was scripted.
there were so many things. I was like, a person wrote this down. Like,
Guys, not
yeah.
only was that line scripted, but I applaud whoever wrote that line because, goddamn, it is a brilliant line that is so on brand for that character.
It is.
Do you want to read it?
Well, let's get. I said slow burn.
Okay, slow burn.
Okay.
My- so those are my themes, guys.
Spoiler alert.
Those are my themes.
All right.
Don't worry, Brian's corner is really short tonight, so you won't have to listen to me run my mouth yet again.
Thank goodness.
Do we want to talk arcs for a minute? I know there were a few.
I felt like Red being inspired by Dalton and sort of becoming, standing up to the guy at the end. I think Red had a good arc. Likeable guy too. Really liked him. And then Red obviously is the auto parts store owner, kind of the first guy that Swayze befriends or whatever. And then Dalton, I think we talked about this already, but by the end of the movie, he lets the guy live. He lets the evil, terrible, the worst of the worst guy at the top who runs all the evil. He lets him live.
Yep.
And he has every excuse to kill him. And then I think even right before that, he kind of decides to take the high road and leave town once he's threatened that it's going to be either Garret or Elizabeth that's going to die. And he goes, you know what? As hard as he's been, as much as he's doubled down on all of his promises, he still relinquishes to leave. And I think you see that arc grow. And those are kind of the two strong ones I got.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
those are good.
Yeah. Outside of Dalton, I got to go with the big guy henchman at the very end after he gets attacked by a
the
polar
large
bear.
man.
The
Yes.
large man, yeah.
Yes.
After he gets attacked by the polar bear, he has a change of heart, and they slow zoom in on his face for about 45 seconds as he contemplates life.
Kind of gets that
and
aw
what to
shucks
do.
moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he has the last line of the movie.
Right.
But it's not the line that he needed to say to prove that he had an arc.
Yeah, but I think I just
he-
saw it in his face, and that was all that's all I got.
But if he
Yeah.
would have said like,
what was the line though?
if he would have said, because he was like, I didn't see anything, and then they zoom in on him, who's like the last living henchman, and if he would have said, I didn't see anything, I'm like, okay, there's an arc. But he said, a polar bear fell on me.
Oh, okay. I think I just saw it in his face. I forgot what the line was.
The last line of the movie.
All right. This is Critical Mess. We're talking about Roadhouse. We're sponsored by the Ambrosial Old Elk. And now we are going to go to a place that has a song. And here it comes.
Brian's song.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Isn't that a movie? Brian's song?
I think it's like a super sad movie.
Let's go
I
back
think.
15 seconds and live in that time. Hey everybody, welcome to Brian's Corner. It's going to be a short one today. I just want to open up the floor to talk real quick here about, we've hinted at this before, but there's a movie that just came out. Luckily not in theaters, much to Doug Liman's chagrin. A movie by the same name as the titular movie of this podcast episode, Roadhouse, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, directed by Doug Liman, released on Amazon Prime. And guys, this movie fucking sucked. I'm actively angry at this movie and everything. And this is Doug Liman, Born Identity, Edge of Tomorrow, fucking Go, Swingers. I mean, this guy directs like awesome movies.
It's got Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor. It's got
It's got Conor McGregor in there somewhere. I don't know.
Conor
McGregor. That's his name. I'm pretty sure.
It's got Conor McGregor and Conor McGregor's ass and Conor McGregor's ass and Conor McGregor's body, and it's like, all right, that's enough.
Ooh,
and Conor McGregor dancing and bouncing, and he's always bouncing.
So it's kind of the Conor McGregor show?
Literally bouncing the entire movie. He's like kind of doing this little dance, like he's just the shit. And it's like, I'm not mad at him. He's not an actor. He was told to do this by Doug Liman. You know, if you take a guy like that and you're going to put him in your movie, you know, know how to direct him. And I'm going to point to Mike Tyson being in The Hangover. I pity the fool who has to direct Mike Tyson. Okay, that is scary, hard. How the hell do you do that? Whoever directed The Hangover, who was it? Jay Roach? No, when Jay Roach, it was Todd Phillips.
Todd Phillips.
Yeah. He did it perfectly. Okay, do that for Conor McGregor if you're going to have somebody like that in your movie.
I would say, to be fair, though, Conor McGregor does a lot more cocaine than Mike Tyson.
Yeah, and he's in this movie a lot more than Mike Tyson was used in that. Probably for good reason.
I'm just saying, like, if you take a famous fighter who's not an actor, there's you better know how. You better be able to check the cash the check that you wrote. And so I don't know, guys. I'm here to say, you know, Roadhouse should not exist. It's terrible. Nick, you haven't seen it. I wish you had, because I'd want to hear your thoughts. I would probably give it like a 12 out of 100. It was so bad. And I'm going to list a couple of remakes that it's worse than. It's worse than the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake.
Wow.
It's worse than the 2010 Alice in Wonderland remake. It's worse than the 2006 Pink Panther remake with Steve Martin.
Oh, that's great, though.
Yeah, I kind of like that movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
That movie makes me laugh.
Okay,
so
I just have a
much.
soft spot for Pink Panther.
But can I ask you this? Have you seen the original Peter Sellers Pink Panther?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's way better. But I'm just saying, like...
And the remake wasn't blasphemous to you? Okay, that's fine.
It was not good, but it was just fun.
Okay.
It was so fun.
It was funny. It was funny.
Like when he walks into the room and he's like... Lovely weather we are having.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ben.
Yeah, it makes me laugh every time.
So I guess we can agree that it's definitely worse than that.
It is worse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I guess that's not a good litmus test. And it's worse than the Psycho remake from '98, which is one of the worst all-time remakes.
That's
This is worse.
a hot take. That's a hot take.
This is worse, Nick.
That's a hot take. But that's like a shot-for-shot remake. That just sucks. Like, who the fuck does? Like, why would you waste your time?
I wish this would have been a shot.
It's like Disney
remake.
remaking a lot of the films in CG fests, like Lion King
And I was tempted to go there, but it's like I saw the Lion King, and is far superior as the original one is. Like the remake, the Jon Favreau one.
Yeah,
it wasn't a bad movie. Like,
no,
so
I'm
not gonna go, that's a terrible movie because the original's so good. And I haven't wasted my time with all the other live action bullshit that Disney's doing, but I'm not gonna also shit on it, especially since I haven't seen it. I wish I'd seen The Mummy with Tom Cruise, because I feel like that would be a great addition to this list, because I bet it was terrible. But again, I've not seen it, so I'm not going to speak to it.
It's rough.
All I'm saying is I've called out some remakes here that did not need to happen, shouldn't have happened. You've got the original Charlie, the original Willy Wonka, just been defiled. You got the original Psycho defiled. I didn't even talk about Godzilla '98. Like, that the original was defiled. I know there's a lot of thoughts in the room about Godzilla, so I'll be careful there. But I guess my point is, don't go. You guys, listen, dear listener. Do not waste your time with Roadhouse. Even if it's free, you're gonna lose 2 hours of your life. It's the stupidest movie. It was a waste. And by God, just stop with the remakes.
Yeah, just watch the original and never see the new one.
Brian, I know this is Brian's corner, but I want to go on a really quick tangent.
Oh, I'm done. Go for it.
So one remake that I thought is a really great remake, we've actually brought up on this show before, is the Dawn of the Dead remake, the Zack Snyder 2004, I think it was 2004.
Yeah.
There was a great question on Reddit today, and I just want to bring this up because I thought it was such a good question. I almost sent this to you guys. But the question was, what movies have a 100% mortality rate? Everyone dies.
Ooh, that's a cool question.
Everyone dies, and that movie fits that criteria. And I know I'm reaching here.
I like it.
I'm going out there, but that's a great example of a movie where everyone dies, and in such a smart way too. Because, like, I don't know if you guys remember, it's like in the closing credits, like they get to this island, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like it's kind of like this like handheld camera thing, and they get swarmed by zombies, and Ving Rhames is like, "Stand behind me," and everyone dies. So it's just pretty great. But it's a fun list. So anyways, another one, the top answer, I will say. Actually, do you guys have one? You want to throw one out there?
I've been thinking.
It's kind of hard
Yeah.
to come up with one. There's two really good ones that that are near the top of this list. One of them I would say is a little bit of a stretch.
I mean, Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Did
no, they
all
survive.
die?
They go to a different planet, right?
Yeah, they're in space. The ship takes off, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh, I got a better one. Melancholia.
I'm
There
not
we go.
seeing
That's my
that.
answer.
Haven't seen it.
Lars von Trier, Melancholia. Great movie. Everyone dies at the end. The entire world dies at the end of that movie, so including the characters.
Here are two good ones. Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
It was-
solid. I love that.
Everyone died. And this one is a slight stretch, but yeah, they're probably dead. The Thing.
Oh yeah, they're not getting out.
They're
They're not getting
done.
out of Antarctica.
Guys,
They're
I got to
done.
watch that soon. I've not
It's
seen that.
One of the
I
greatest
need
movies
to.
ever made.
I need
It's
to
in my
watch
top
that
100.
soon.
Gris,
I know.
that is required
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
By next recording.
I might mute your mic.
Yeah, you probably should. I'll unplug it myself.
Listen, every movie that I've told you that you need to watch up till now, just forget about those.
Just skip right to
Watch
the thing
The
and
Thing.
Watch
delete
The
the
Thing.
rest. Okay,
Yep, for
got
sure.
it.
No, but Nick, that's great that you brought that up because originally this Brian's Corner was going to be just shitting on remakes, and I was going to be like, don't ever remake a movie. But then I started like researching remakes, and like a lot of like the movies that are in my top 100 are remakes.
Yeah.
And I started
Yeah.
feeling really stupid because I realized I'm a hypocrite, and like most of my favorite movies are remakes. So I kind of veered. And I just wanted to talk about some specific ones. So I really just wanted this to be a talk about remakes. So thank you for bringing us full circle and being holistic. Do you guys have further thoughts about remakes?
What's your favorite remake?
Oh man,
I'll throw one that might be mine. Count of Monte Cristo.
Okay.
Really love that movie.
I like Ocean's 11 a lot. I don't know if it's my favorite. There were a lot of bangers on the list, like the Mummy. The Mummy is great.
That's a really good
Oh,
one.
yep. Yep.
And there's a lot that I didn't even know were remakes.
There's a lot of movies that I love that I did not know were remakes or rehashes of something. But
So anyway, don't waste your time, everybody. Thanks for joining me at Brian's Corner, where old man yells at clouds.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but I just heard it 10 minutes ago. It's not fair.
not bad.
All right, this is Critical Mess. We're talking about Roadhouse, the 1989 version, sponsored by Old Elk. And now's the most special time of the show. And it's the time that our fictional paying Patreon customers get the time code for, so they can just skip right to it, because this is really the only thing people want to listen to, and that's fine, and we can live with that. We can live with that, guys.
It's the Christmas
right?
morning of our show.
Right, exactly. All that other bullshit, it was just preamble.
Yeah.
It was just preamble. This is the meat and potatoes. This is what you came for. And, you know, this segment...
It's been around. Lot of build-up. Lot of
around for a
build-up.
while. And, you know, it started kind of with the same name as a children's 90s board game, actually. I think, what was it called?
Crossfire.
You'll get caught up in it.
Yeah, right. Not to be confused with the CNN show of a similar
There's
name.
also CNN Crossfire, right? This is a whole different. Wait. Crossfire?
No.
Speed dating.
It was actually, it was
Crossburn.
medium to rapid fire.
Saltburn.
Hot
Right.
Pocket.
Yeah, there was yes, and then it was Hot Pocket.
Then it was
Hot
Hot
Pocket.
Pocket.
So glad you brought that up. It was Hot Pocket for a while, but finally we just landed on
Brian's Corner.
Slow burn.
That's right.
Slow
It's time
burn.
for Slow Burn, everybody, and we are so very glad you're here.
I love how in all that preamble we never even said the original name of it. Let's just keep it that way.
Yeah. You'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
So
True fans.
True fans
will get
know.
it. Yeah. Go
They
back
know
to
about, they know about the
Yeah,
whale
our-
tail.
our
go
page-
back and listen to other episodes.
Our Patreons know.
Our Patreons know what's up.
So here's where I want to start Slow Burn tonight, guys, and in the spirit of the segment, this is going to take a second. So
You want to watch this scene?
This scene
So-
is so good.
This movie we've alluded to earlier a little bit. Like, it has good kind of subtext, kind of. You know, it's got more going on than meets the eye. It does a lot of good showing, not telling, right? Which is what a good movie does.
Yeah.
And one of the best ways this movie does that is with the drinks, with what people are drinking. And I want to talk about this for a second. And I'm gonna, and I have to give some a shout out to an article I found that was actually a really well written article with a good title. It's called "Coffee is for Coolers: The Semiotics of Beverages in Roadhouse."
Oh, is that a play on Coffee is for Closers? Glengarry
I believe it is.
Cool.
Yeah, I believe
Cool.
it is.
Nice.
Anyways, it's a really good article, and I suggest you read it. But But I kind of, and to give myself a little credit, I was actually Googling something about it because I kind of had this thought that was like, the drinks in this movie, it's like, it's kind of a thing. And some guy wrote a whole piece about it. But let's talk about this for a second, because I think this is such a great kind of example of how this movie shows and doesn't tell. So guys, I'm going to ask you guys. So let's start with the easy one. What does Dalton drink?
Coffee, black.
Coffee,
Leaded.
black, leaded. Yeah, nice.
Most of the time. Do you remember? Now, there's a point, actually, he has a couple beers, and then he has a big change in his kind of personality after he has those couple of beers.
Oh, does he?
Yes.
What? Is that
in the
barn?
diner with Sam Elliott
Oh, yeah.
and his girl?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He's drinking a couple High Lifes,
He's drinking a high.
and that's when things go off the rails.
Damn.
So maybe it was just the nip of alcohol that
Yeah,
made
maybe
him
he's got a
into
little problem there.
murderous bastard.
That's a great call out.
Anyway, I thought that was interesting, but let's keep going. Mr. Wade. Mr. Wade. What did he drink?
Who's Mr. Wade?
Wade Garret.
Wade Garret.
Ladies
Sorry.
and gentlemen, Wade Garret. I closed my eyes because I was being the blind guy.
Oh my god.
that was weird. I had to call myself out on that. God, I don't know. Beer.
Yep.
Beer.
He drinks American beer.
I'm going to go Budweiser.
He just
Yeah.
drinks American beer.
Yeah, and that's fucking Sam Elliott. Let's
Yep.
be honest.
Yep. Okay.
44, 44 years old in this movie, guys.
He was 45 in the movie.
Now we're gonna-
45?
I,
Old.
I Googled him just now. He didn't look a day over 80.
I know he's aged well.
But he should look a lot older than
Actually,
80.
I think he's
'cause
79
Because he
because-
looked like he was 80 back in 1993.
Right. It's like he aged and then just stopped aging.
He stopped aging.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did his pubes.
So, oh, Ben, you've skipped ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, so okay, well, I just want to point out real quickly, like what that even just those two beverages. We've got these two guys that have the same job, right? That kind of drink two different things, and what this says about them, right? And on one level, it says that Dalton, our hero, is kind of a consummate professional, right? He's not gonna fuck around on the job. He
Stays alert.
Right. And Wade, this legend, the guy that's like kind of arguably better than him, he thinks he's better than him. Dalton does.
Well, Dalton says you want Wade Garret. He's
Right.
the best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He drinks. And he drinks he's what the interesting thing about that is he is on. Now let's talk about another audience. What do the people in the bar drink?
Well, Denise drinks vodka.
Well,
vodka rocks.
we're gonna get to that too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
Wait,
but
which bar did I?
just the Double Deuce. Like, what are the patrons mainly drinking?
Colt 45.
The same shit as Wade.
45.
Yeah.
Heavy.
They're drinking the same thing as Wade. So Wade is like on the level.
Okay.
He's kind of like immersed in that kind of like he's kind of on the same level, whereas Dalton is drinking coffee, something that zero people in the bar are drinking. So it's kind of an interesting distinguishment. It's like one of these guys is actually the guy that has all this. The reverence for him is actually like a little sloppy, maybe, or actually maybe not quite as good or professional as his reputation might say. So I just thought that was interesting. Just that little thing, what he drinks, says a lot about his character.
Yeah.
Now let's keep moving. Brad Wesley, what does he drink?
Like a Bloody Mary or like a OJ screwdriver.
That's right. He drinks Bloody Marys,
Bloody Marys.
right?
Yeah.
What does that say about old Brad?
Oh God, he's just a pretentious, just
man
like,
of class and
he's
Kind of a playboy.
Yeah.
He drinks in the morning,
Yep.
right? He's drinking all day. I think it's there's that one's maybe not as deep as the other ones, but it does say something about that character.
Yeah, for sure.
The Bloody Mary. Okay, now Brad's girl. He already brought.
Because wait, what man drinks a Bloody Mary? I'm not trying to be
Well,
sexist, but like
I know a
like,
few.
Well, but
Not me.
I do on Sundays.
can I meet these people? Because like
Sundays only.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who drinks Bloody Mary. Alcoholics, because they can drink in the morning and not have any weird looks.
true. Actually, maybe
Those breakfast drinks.
Maybe I should look into that.
I think
I'm going to question my life choices from here on
I
out.
think I just found a life hack.
Yeah.
Okay, Brad's girl. What does she drink?
Brad. Vodka rocks. Yeah,
Vodka rocks. What does that say about her?
Low-cal.
She's a little bit different from the rest of the crowd at the bar,
Yeah.
right?
She's
kind
not
of
drinking Budweiser. She's
kind
drinking
of a
vodka
party
rocks.
girl, right?
Party girl,
She can handle her shit. She's a little higher class, right? Vodka rocks is higher class than this
She's a
American
doctor, right?
lager. No.
Oh, no, I'm thinking
talking
of-
about Brad's
okay.
girl.
No, we're
Brad's
talking
girl.
about Denise,
That's right.
the one who the dude
That's
looks
right.
at and says, "Hey, vodka rocks. What do you say? Me and you get nipple to nipple."
Yeah. So, anyways, that says something about her character too. She's a little classier. She's a party girl. So, anyway, I thought that was just a really interesting thing, right? How these drinks are saying so much about these characters. And even when our main character switches drinks, he switches personalities. And I think that's pretty interesting.
Very cool.
Does someone drink Jack Daniels in this? I feel like
Somebody
Daniels
had
was
bourbon.
called out as
Someone talks
by
about getting
name.
hit in the face with a bottle of Jack Daniels.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Wade.
Wade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The new movie, they drink Makers.
They would.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, Ben.
Oh.
I don't fucking give a shit.
Don't bring up that movie again.
I hate to say this, but Makers is kind of like the one whiskey like I really don't want.
It's not great.
Yeah,
It's not great.
when we talked about Spider-Man, and I said that I had thought Makers when I was a young strapping 19-year-old, I thought it was like this high pretentious
right.
brand because this rich James Franco character is drinking Makers, and I'm like, oh, that must be like real
Rich for us in the day, yeah.
bourbon.
Yeah. Well, it's got the wax, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
wax.
They're real showy.
Whoa, wax.
They're not like Old Elk.
No.
All right, we are living up to the segment. I knew we would.
Nick, can I just say, by the way, that like the last 5 minutes have been like maybe my most favorite 5 minutes of the podcast. Like,
Oh, wow.
ever.
What segment are we in?
It's called Hot Pocket, damn it. Get with it. All right, we're Hot Pocketing. The next thing. Okay, do you guys... Now, I'm just curious your opinion on this. I don't know the answer to this. But there was this motif throughout the movie that was like, well, I thought you'd be bigger. I thought you'd be bigger. Do you think that was just written into the script that way and they looked at Swayze and was like, he's kind of a small guy that can pull this off? Or do you think it was like, Swayze's the perfect guy for this movie and we're going to back into this and kind of make it a little running joke throughout the movie?
I thought it was written in to give him a more powerful... He has a small frame, obviously. More so, like... Obviously, compared to what Schwarzenegger, Stallone, you have all these big guys from that era. I think they were just trying to give him a quiet, strongman personality, and it was just the difference maker for that time frame. I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was great. I think it was scripted.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Yeah,
he was.
it
I think
probably
he
was.
intentionally cast.
It'd be cool if it wasn't, though. And he was just the guy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
just the guy.
Let's just talk about the bars for a second, guys.
man.
What? Like, is there ever been a bar? I mean, I guess maybe somewhere where there's like 300 people, there's like constant fights, glass breaking, tables busting, but yet there's a great mix of guys and girls.
I guess I've not been to a roadhouse.
I guess.
Besides
I mean, I
Texas
guess that's
Roadhouse.
what a roadhouse kind of is. But is a roadhouse a real thing?
I don't
guess?
even know.
I don't either.
They have
Anyone
to
been
be
one?
a thing.
They
I have
have
no
to be a
clue.
thing.
I've never been to a place where 300 people are all clapping in unison to a blind guy playing blues and then also tons of fights happening. I've been to a place that has one of those or the other of those, but never a place that's both.
Yeah. I also, okay, so this is my hot take. I like the Double Deuce way better before he got there than after.
Yeah, after he got there, it turned into like a
It had a cool
Circuit
vibe.
City.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
way more
TGI
fun.
like a TGI Fridays after.
As we look at them all in this
Yeah.
cleaned up bar that's like fully furnished and redone, and
Yeah.
they're all wearing bright red shirts with khaki pants and belts.
You know what the OG Double Deuce felt like? It was like, have you guys seen From Dusk Till Dawn?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
it
the
felt
titty
like that.
twister,
Yeah,
right? It was
did.
like, it had that vibe.
very dark and gritty.
Yeah.
And well, it's kind of actually bright and gritty, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it
still
is.
kind of
Bright and gritty.
Where are they all sweaty?
A lot of sweat. in this
So
movie.
much sweat.
A lot of smoke. And I'll say, there's some good smoking in this movie. We like a good smoke on screen. Looks good. But I feel like there could have been more.
I mean, Patrick Swayze fully nude smoking out on the
Now, that was a moment. That was
I'll
a
take
moment.
that any day of the week.
I mean,
Chris.
Sam Elliott, he burns a couple darts.
Was
in a
it
pretty
just that,
smart
or was
way.
there something else in that scene that it was hard to focus on with him? Are you talking about him walking out at nighttime to the overpass of the?
Elizabeth's ass
Yeah, there you go.
smoking.
Also, I love that Sam Elliott calls him Miho.
Me,
Yeah, Vio.
His little thing for him?
hey, I feel like
His little
I feel
pet
like
name.
that was not scripted. That he just came in and made
Yeah,
that
just
up.
called that in.
That just feels
little
like
pet name.
Sam Elliott says that regularly.
Yeah,
I can't believe we
Yeah.
haven't talked yet about how amazing Sam Elliott is, just in general. But actually, we have talked about that, but we haven't talked about it more than we have. But let's continue.
He's pretty
with our-
great.
with our burning here.
Yeah, we're burning.
slowing it.
We're hot pocketing. So the cars in this movie are great. There's a lot of great cars.
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry to jump in. But
No,
you just-
please.
I got so excited because my very first car that I owned was a 1992 Eagle Premier.
Yes,
Yeah.
Eagle.
Yeah.
Dude,
The
what a
Henchman roll up
man,
in an
the
Eagle
Eagles.
Premier.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
Wow, what a brand.
I saw
Yeah.
that and I just thought, yes.
I mean, how many Eagles are on the road in America
Zero.
today? No, there's like 17.
There's none. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, what a man! I would never would have thought of
Yeah,
Eagle.
it was an Eagle
until you-
Premier.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Buick Riviera he buys though. Dalton buys for dirt cheap. The V8.
That was smart
You know?
of him to do.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he's got that Mercedes, hidden away.
Oh, and he's got the Benz. Yeah.
Did you guys get a hint that he came from money or had money from somewhere else through this? Since he was acting like he was poor because he lives in the barn.
That was a little bit
He has a
weird.
shitty car and he's buying it, but he had that quick moment where he like gave the car to a homeless guy, and then he goes and uncovers a beautiful Mercedes.
I feel like maybe he's more of just like the type of dude who's like, he's a simple guy. He's clearly has no attachments, no family. He's out here doing kind of a dangerous nighttime job, and he's got his little toy, his perfect little cherry Benz, that he hides away, and he takes it down to wherever he goes, Kansas, wherever it's at, and then he hides it again. So it's like it's like what guys do. We buy toys and we never play with them. We just have them like my pinball machines. Like I just have them, and that's all that matters is that I have it. I don't touch it or play with it or look at it, but I have it.
Sorry,
That's him with his Mercedes.
Sam Elliott's pubes were just on screen.
Yeah, I just got a huge crotch
We're almost
shot.
there, Ben. Ben, we're close.
Oh,
we're real
man.
close.
We gotta talk about it.
Is this just like Bar Rescue the movie? Honestly, like it kind of felt like
much.
did this movie like inspire that whole franchise?
John Taft.
John Taft, you're gonna kill somebody. Yeah. This kind of felt like it. Gris, you brought this up a minute ago, but let's talk about butt shots because there are a lot of them in this movie.
So many butt shots.
And Swayze's kind of premiere butt shot, the first one. Whoa.
Yeah,
yeah. That's chick's
smooth butt.
it was good,
Yeah.
and you got to see that girl like see him.
Yeah, her reaction
I love,
was.
I love someone's reaction to someone being naked when you just see their reaction.
Yeah.
You kind of see them kind of like look away, but like not really want to look away.
There were a lot of reaction shots to like the full frontal pube shot of Sam Elliott, and then they cut to I can't remember her name now.
Elizabeth.
The love interest, Elizabeth, and her facial reaction was just like she was so confused and didn't know how to react.
You can
to it.
refer
For the
to her-
listeners, it was confusion.
Yeah, there you go.
You can. By the way, in my notes, she's Dr. Supermodel.
Dr. Supermodel, that's good. Great ass, got it.
The camera just hangs on that butt. I know it was only like 6 or 7 seconds, but it felt like 3 hours.
But it is lit and
I know, it's
framed,
glistening.
and glistening.
Sweaty butt.
Wait, are you talking about Swayze or are you talking about Elizabeth?
Let's talk about all the butts.
Swayze.
Okay.
All the butts.
All right.
Swayze.
Okay,
and I
Swayze.
feel like now that I'm realizing that they did the Conor McGregor butt is an homage to that.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
didn't hold a candle.
I
No,
know, I
I
guarantee
wasn't
not
looking
even
at his
close.
ass for the whole 14
Yeah.
seconds it was on.
Awful. I'm sure it was terrible.
Now, you guys need to, or all our listeners need to do this, but go back to that scene of obviously the post-coital scene of them in the barn. But
Post-coital?
yeah, whatever. After they had sex and she
you
walks out on the
Are you
field.
a
Yeah.
professor?
Okay, we're trying to keep it clean here. We're not trying to swear.
No, we're not.
You know, yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
So that scene for some reason, and I'm sure Ben might respect this a little bit, but like this movie was lit beautifully. I mean, there were so many complex shots of lighting. We just saw one where Sam Elliott and Patrick Swayze are driving back. There's a huge hole in the front windshield, and Sam Elliott's face is perfectly lit. And you could just see the street lights going, and it's perfectly focused, everything. But the best scene was probably right after they have sex. They're in the barn, and she's walking out, and she just does. It's a one take. She pulls off the covers, stands up, walks out. You see her ass, and then he's out there just smoking. So all you see is a blue lit outside, a perfectly warm lit inside, and she walks from one frame to the next into that blue light. And you just see the smoke from the cigarette that he's smoking out on the top of that barn. I'm like, dude, what a fucking beautiful setup. Like, and there's so many of those shots in this whole film. So there's a lot to respect here.
So
Let's hear it.
I was very into this, and it's shot so much better than it has any right to be.
That's why I rated it
And
an 83 was the cinematography.
The director of photography
Rowdy,
is,
baby.
is
Yeah.
Dean Cundy.
Okay.
Do you guys want to hear his top 4 on films
Oh, yeah.
Please.
Let's hear.
on
Let's hear.
IMDb? Top 4 director of photography, Jurassic Park.
Oh, shit.
Oh, damn.
That you could just stop right there.
Yeah, done.
I mean, good Lord.
It gets better.
oh,
No.
fuck.
Apollo 13.
Oh, my
What?
God.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh, my God. That's a.
Back to the Future.
Oh, stop
Wait,
it.
that was the same guy for all these?
Same guy.
Holy
Fucking
fuck.
Spielberg,
all right.
Ron Howard, and Robert Zemeckis, and
I'm
Rowdy
so
Harrington.
glad. Rowdy Harris, baby.
Good
I'm
Lord.
so
Dean
glad.
was one of the most prolific directors
wonder
of
this movie
photography.
looks so good.
And
Guys, I'm
Like,
so
super
hyped right
cool.
now.
and
great
like
fact.
it is awesome to see this movie and just kind of focus on only the lighting and how they
It was
used it.
unbelievable.
I'm actually going to watch the movie again with the lighting in mind.
Yeah.
This is
Wow.
a very rewatchable movie, and the more I watch it, the more I catch, the more I see, and I'm like, dude, why did I like that so much? I'm like, oh, because it's just a beautiful, like, oh man, that's awesome. The music also, like we're watching the blind. I'm sure somebody has his name. Off
Todd
the bat.
Healy.
Todd
The
Healy.
Todd Healy band. That's not his name in this, but
Unbelievable. Every time they cut to him, loud music, cut to the opening scene of a location, and it's blaring. It's like, damn, that guy's good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I feel like we're in Gris's corner.
Yeah, we are. We're in Gris's
I
corner.
love
Do you want me to continue it?
Well, we're actually in a
I
hot
can.
pocket right now.
It is a real hot
I can
pot.
continue the
deep hot
grid.
pocket.
Yeah, I can.
We're in a hot pocket in Gris's corner.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
Fuck it. We're gonna keep going. So there's another thing I noticed in this film. I rated
give it
this.
to me.
I rated this highly, and so I can respect a movie. And somehow the '80s did this the best. I'm now realizing after we've done 30 episodes of this show, watches in this movie. Our good friend here, Nick, has the same watch that Patrick Swayze's wearing in this film. The
And that is
Tag
what?
Heuer 3000 reference 932.206.
Courtesy of you.
Courtesy
Like to
of me,
point out.
yes. If you guys want to go back to the Deep Blue Sea
because
episode.
you gave it to me.
Yeah, go back.
and I treasure it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Go back to the Deep Blue Sea episode if you want to hear about that. But how you match props and settings and specifically watches to a character. It's a tool watch. It's a rugged watch, and Patrick Swayze is wearing it. He's in a rough and
It matches
dirty
his
place.
character. Yeah.
And then you have Wesley, who's wearing a Cartier Tank, which is a beautiful gold, squared off rectangular watch that's just very expensive. The doc is wearing a women's gold Rolex. She's a doctor. She wears it super daintily. It's a women's Rolex. So,
What's Denise got on right there?
oh gosh, I
All right,
can't
put
see
you on
it.
the spot.
I know,
It was
I can't
gold,
see
it. Was
it.
gold something or other.
It's gold something. But man, I love it when the movie can connect all those dots, and this one does it. So I rated it highly. So I'm going to give it to it.
I feel like you just backed that rating up like legit.
Yeah.
Like, that was awesome. Hey,
You're
by
welcome.
the way, can I talk real quick about that scene that you just blew my mind with the lighting where with Elizabeth, there's
Yeah.
warm interior lighting walking out to exterior. Another interesting thing about that scene to me, and I'm not trying to be coy. I'm not trying to be, overly whatever, scandalous here, but I generally was, surprised by this. They have the whole sex scene, which, she's going up and down against a wall
rock
of
wall, yeah.
rocks.
That looked painful.
That looked
And she looked like she was in pain.
that looked
Yeah.
maybe like
Yeah.
I was like, is that the least comfortable position to be in
yeah,
a sex
I
scene?
noticed that. That was rough.
Meanwhile,
Literally
Swayze's
rough.
sweating his
Yeah,
ass off. Did you
literally
guys
rough.
catch that?
No.
That he is just drenched in sweat as soon as he goes to do the scene where he picks her up.
Well,
you can tell they ran it 20 times.
Not to be too graphic, but have you ever tried that position? I mean, it's a fucking lot
It's
of work.
hard.
But,
A lot of
but
work.
my point though there is that like they have this whole sex scene and she's a smoke show, she's just a 10 whatever. And I thought it was interesting, no nudity, right? And then post-coitus, to
There you
use
go.
your term,
Post-copulation.
post-copulation,
Coital.
Yeah.
he's out smoking, and then you do see some nudity as she walks out there that's not sexualized. And so I thought that was interesting. I thought that was kind of tastefully done.
Yeah, because she's a classier chick.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. So I don't know. I just kind of wanted to point that out.
that was
in a
intentional.
lesser movie, you've already got her sign off to be topless. You put it in the sex scene, but he doesn't. And I wonder how much of that was intentional. I wonder how much of that was the film editor as well.
I think so. Yeah. So I've mentioned this before. I cannot stand nudity in films if it's just gratuitous or there's no reason for it. The two times that I can remember in this movie was one where the bar guy or the bartender or security guy was fucking the chick in the pantry. There was a purpose for it. He is showing his authority quietly, and he's saying, "You're out. Like, get the fuck out of my place." And there was a purpose for it. Like, he doesn't tolerate any of that. And then again, when he's having the love scene, like it's artful, it's tasteful, it's like done super beautifully, and then it's lit perfect. So I thought, yeah, it's great.
Nick,
Well done.
can the next icebreaker be what's your favorite nude scene in a movie? And we make only Gris answer.
It's just this movie.
Oh, I like
I'll
that.
just keep referencing this one until I find a better one.
Roadhouse.
All right.
Let's keep
yeah,
rapid
we're doing
firing.
it. So the main goon that he fights at the end, like he's got the cross earring. Is that ever going to come back, like that for a tough guy thing, or is that only like a late '80s, early '90s New Kids on the Block type deal?
Who knows what'll come back? I mean, you see some of these Gen Zers.
But you see things come back in and out, but I haven't seen the
I haven't
cross
either.
earring on a guy since '89, and I feel like there's potential for it to return.
There's potential. It's gonna be back.
Yep. We already talked about the Tai Chi scene a little bit. The old landlord. What was the old landlord farmer's name?
Something like Leroy.
Something like that. He just looks so worried during the whole scene.
I liked him a lot. I liked that.
I
guy
liked him a lot too. But what's he so worried? He's
don't
like, I
know.
don't know what this young man is up to, and I don't
think
like it.
He was confused, and then you have Brad Wesley across the lake also watching him do this. So maybe he's like, "Hey, dude, you're drawing too much attention to yourself. I've got this neighbor right across this tiny pond for me. Please stop doing Tai Chi and exercising your authority."
There's two old men looking at this sweaty, glistening young man,
strange.
just moving very slowly in the bush.
I think old man Leroy just has a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's a strange scene.
I love that he's on a 4-wheeler too for no reason.
Yeah, like, with his driving gloves, his leather.
That's what you do when you're
gloves.
rich. You're just on 4-wheelers sometimes.
It wasn't even a 4-wheeler. It was 3. Wasn't it 3?
Was it?
I don't
I
know.
remember. I thought it was 4.
Okay, iconic quote. I think this is a great quote from this movie. Do you ever win a fight? Nobody wins a fight. I mean, that is. Come on. That's an iconic quote. Dare I say it? An iconic quote.
Iconic.
That's one of those that like you might hear and you might not even know where it comes from because it's just kind of part of the.
I'm assuming it came from this movie, but maybe it didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it didn't, but I think it probably did.
But so many times in this movie, Swayze's character Dalton, he could run his mouth or he could say something, and he just says one quick small. And I really love how little dialogue he has. Not because I don't think Swayze can act and have dialogue, but that character is a man of few words. He's like the Western, the man with no name or whatever it is, and that was one of his lines is like, no one ever wins a fight. And he says it kind of coming right off the heels of another banger. He says, "Pain don't hurt," and that's another great iconic line.
Another one. Yep, I agree.
And there's a lot of meaning behind that. So it's both those things he says when he first meets Dr. Elizabeth. And I'm like, damn, like no wonder she was intrigued by him. He's got these fucking like banger quips to blow her mind with.
Let me give you another banger quip. Does a hobby horse have a wooden dick?
I didn't know what that meant.
No one knows what it means. It's just red being red.
Guys, I didn't know what a whale tail was. Okay, so you guys are all laughing.
Wild.
You guys gonna laugh at me. What's a hobby horse?
Like a rocking horse or
like
a kid's rocking horse.
Yeah.
A wooden carved kid's rocking horse from the 40s, 50s.
That's called a hobby horse?
A hobby horse, yeah. Like something,
Give me a fucking break.
But does it have a wooden dick?
Yeah, but does a hobby horse have a wooden dick? No, it should not.
You'd be surprised.
The ones I carved.
We didn't call them hobby horses.
Back in shop class.
We called them rocking horses.
And boy, did they rock.
They rocked. Can I say a line real quick while we're talking about lines? I also enjoyed when somebody was talking about Dalton, and this is, it's not profound or anything, but it was just badass. You fuck with him and he'll seal your fate. That's pretty cool. And then I love Dalton's sort of kind of his disposition or his sort of posture in dealing with these people who are clearly outmatching him in numbers and size. And I kind of rewound it a couple times because I was like, what does that mean? He says, the ones who go looking for trouble are not much of a problem to someone who's ready for them. And again, not super profound, but like, it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. He spends his life ready.
Yeah.
He's drinking leaded. He's not drunk.
Right.
Yeah. He's doing the Tai Chi. He's doing that. He's ready for shit to go down.
Yeah. He's staying sharp by drinking coffee in the middle of the night.
He reads philosophy books.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I'll say one more about him. He says, Dalton says, Brad Wesley picked me, and when he did, he fucked up. It's kind of badass.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great. It's
Some
funny
good
that
Daltonisms in
there's
here.
so many one-liners and insane quotes in this movie. I don't know if we're going to go into it later or now, but you just rattled off a lot of the ones I had written down that had perfect meaning. They had purpose in the movie. They were deeper than they should have been. And then you had the crazier quotes that I like.
Let's go there now.
We could go there now. But the little thing about it was a pre and post scene, but he goes, "You've got insurance, don't you?" Do you guys remember this scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had
and this is the
this is the
follow-up to
callback.
it.
This is the follow up.
And he goes, "You got insurance, don't you?"
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
It's like, God damn, the timing on a lot of these were just so good.
So
but-
we're talking about Red, the auto parts store
Yep.
guy, and who gets a shop burnt down, and then
Yep.
the auto part, the car dealership guy who
They
gets
asked him if he has insurance.
Yeah, and then when the monster truck goes through his scene, then Red gets to zing him right back.
Yep.
You have insurance,
You got
don't
insurance, don't you?
Good little, just great little
so
dialogue.
good.
Yep.
One other one from Dalton was, "It's a job, nothing personal. What if they call you a motherfucker? It's just two nouns combined to elicit a prescribed
That's actually
response."
that's the
Cocksucker.
wrong.
Cocksucker?
Yeah, let's start
Oh,
at the beginning.
okay.
It's
All right.
cocksucker.
Same
Let's
difference.
It's
Start
a
o-
job,
start over.
nothing. It's a job, nothing personal. What if they call you a cocksucker? It's just two nouns combined to elicit a prescribed response. this dialogue is insane.
That's good
But
stuff.
he's just describing it. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
be nice is a good tip too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice. So
Yep.
Guys, that dialogue's almost terrible, but it's not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a fine line.
Is it how it's delivered? I don't know.
Part of it.
it's the way he delivered
Because
it.
it's kind of bad. Think about that. Like just if someone would just told you that, be nice until
it
it's time to
works
not be
in
nice.
the
But it
scene.
works so great.
Yeah.
There's a long pause, and he says it with inflection. And it's great. Yeah.
Can I throw out a couple alternate titles for this film?
Oh, I love an alternate title.
Here's the first one: Coolest Motherfucker Alive.
Coolest because he's a cooler, right?
Yeah.
Is that why you said that?
Nice.
Here's another one: Boobs, Butts, and the Coolest Motherfucker Alive.
Even better. Even better.
That's all I got.
Did you guys see all the chest sweat, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so sweaty.
It could have been called chest sweat.
So much sweat.
Oh, my God.
Those are great names. Thank you for
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Yeah, let's keep it crass here. So, Mr. Wesley just smoking that cigar, watching Swayze bang on the roof. I had a reaction to that. Not even sure what it was, but I was like, this is a thing.
Is that when he's rocking in his rocking chair?
Yeah, it's just a little.
Yeah.
There's something going on there. I don't know what he's thinking,
Yeah.
but it's not.
weird.
Whatever it is, it's not good.
It's not good.
No,
Well, he's got a weird relationship with Denise, though. Like he's got
he
this,
does.
this,
Right.
this
Well,
kind
he's
of smoke
watching this
show.
woman. He's got this thing for. Have coitus.
There
Your
you go.
words, Gris.
Good job. We're trying to keep it censored around here.
wait,
on
you-
the roof.
No, Elizabeth.
Yeah, they're coiting.
That's his.
coiting.
That's his niece.
No.
No.
I actually on third watch.
That's
I
Red.
caught
It's
this.
Red's niece.
It's Red's niece from the car shop.
So he does have a thing for. So he has a
Yeah.
thing for Denise and Elizabeth.
Right.
I got
Yes.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, even Denise, Denise is with him clearly, but he has her go dance and strip in front of everybody, and he's enjoying the fact that she's comes down and tries to kiss Dalton or whatever.
Right, but she's kind of the
the
trashy
fling.
side
She's the
girl.
fling.
She's
Yeah.
not who he really wants.
But still, he's
He's probably married to
he's
a
weird.
Denise or something, right? No.
Yeah, he's probably got a wife somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, Brian, you brought up earlier, Sam Elliott, boss of all bosses, kind of just one thing that was super cool. Him just rolling up on the bike for the first time and just being like, "Oh, the double douche."
The double douche.
Double douche.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's like, man, Sam Elliott really nailed that one.
You say that as Sam Elliott catches a fly punch from Patrick Swayze in the barn scene.
He's that good.
Yeah.
He's
so
that good.
While he's beaten and bruised. Look at all the bruises all over his hands and his face. Beautiful.
All right, Ben, it's the time you've been waiting for. Let's talk about those pubes. Let's get into it. Ben, start us off.
Oh, wait. I don't have a sound effect for pubes.
That was the sound effect. That was the sound effect for pubes.
Thank God. What would that even be?
Surprisingly dark for how gray his hair is.
Yeah. Maybe he was using some Just for Men down there. He knew what was going to happen and
Just for pubes.
got preemptive.
I mean, he was only 45. He's got the dark eyebrows.
Let's talk about explosions. Damn, were there some nice explosions in this movie? I mean, things don't explode a little bit in this movie. They fucking explode.
Yeah, they sure do.
Like turn to cinder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that
Real
like
explosions.
So
not
what is
CG.
Brad Wesley? I mean, what is this guy using? That's not like fertilizer. I mean,
Those
this
are
guy's got
really
C4.
good fireworks from Mexico. Yeah.
Anyway, nice explosions.
Yeah, good explosions.
You guys ever been to a monster truck rally?
No.
Yes.
Yes, Ben.
Yeah. Once.
Tell us about
So
it. Guys,
good.
let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I was just talking about it. I'm pretty sure it might have been the truck that was in this thing. What was it called, Ben? Bigfoot. I remember going to the RCA Dome when I was a kid and seeing it filled with dirt and being so confused by how that happened and how that works in a football stadium. And then
It is
just
amazing how they
watching
do that.
monster trucks just get demolished.
When I was a kid, it was called the Hoosier Dome, by the way. But
Yeah, Hoosier Dome. Sorry. RCA Dome for me.
I went in Lucas Oil about 2019, and it is still good. Still
We
recommend
should
it.
do a critical mass
Still great.
monster truck rally.
Yeah.
Like a real Sunday, treadhead seats, $10.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're gonna make another podcast about monster trucks.
guys,
There's a monster truck in this movie, by the way.
when my oldest, yeah, that's why we're talking about. When my oldest was like maybe 6 to 9 months old, For some reason, we got on a YouTube rabbit hole of tractors, and then we got into monster trucks, and then so we would just watch like monster trucks just destroying themselves. And I feel like Gravedigger was like a big. Is that like a
still
thing?
is?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Grave was the
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
So
that is my full extent of knowledge on monster trucks.
what I think is funny though about this movie is that they don't just use Bigfoot as like the prop to run over all those cars. They actually drive it all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know. I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
The miles per gallon.
About 1 mile a gallon here.
They spend $4,000 and just
It's got to be such a tedious
gas
drive.
for.
That truck was twice the height of that man, and he was 6'5".
Well, and it's funny because they pull up in an Eagle Premier and a fucking monster truck. That's it. Those are the two vehicles that comprise their caravan.
So, continuing the Hot Pocket, is it just Dalton?
No, he's got a first name.
Does it? Do they say it?
Wait, Dalton's his last name?
Yeah,
Dalton's
Dalton's last name.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I was gonna go. I wanted to go around and just kind of theorize what the.
No, he's got one.
They say it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's pretend
I'm
they
trying
don't.
to remember.
Yeah.
Let's pretend they don't say it. What is it? What should his first name be?
Yeah.
Gregory Dalton.
I don't know because Wade Garrett is such a badass name. How can you equal that? Blank Dalton.
I know it because I just looked it up for you guys. Go ahead. I guessed Gregory Dalton before I looked.
Craig Dalton.
Johnny.
Johnny
Oh,
Dalton.
it's so close.
Johnny Dalton.
I'm going Dick Dalton.
Dick Dalton. That's pretty good. What do you got, Ben?
I said Craig Dalton.
You guys are all wrong. James Dalton.
James.
They only say it once.
Okay.
James Dalton is a Western name though.
It is.
Like, yeah.
It's pretty good.
Okay. Let's get to probably the most quotable quote in the whole movie. Actually,
Yeah, let's talk about it.
We're about to see it right now.
Yeah.
I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
I used to fuck guys
Man.
like you in
It's
prison.
amazing.
That really, honestly, that hit me like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
Just I wasn't expecting it.
And he delivers it.
He delivers
just
it like
so
he
earnestly.
means it.
It is.
And Patrick Swayze, he's just like, oh shit.
I honestly didn't see that coming at all.
Oh, I didn't either.
No.
I didn't either.
Why would you write that? That's what I don't understand.
To indicate how much of an animal this guy is.
Yeah.
And it's alluded to earlier because Brad Wesley, I think she's talking about his pet, Denise being his pet or something, and Dalton's like, if you're gonna have a pet, keep it on a leash. He's talking about Denise when he pulls her down, and he goes, oh, you're right, Jimmy.
Yeah,
He
that's a
calls
great
Jimmy
callback.
out, like Jimmy's a pet, right? So he's like just this animal, and of course, only animalistically is he gonna say that, that kind of I used to fuck guys like you in prison. So clearly he's not putting on any airs. He's just this force, and he's scary, and he might I think he might hurt Dalton in more ways than just physically. That's the connotation there.
So he's Conor McGregor.
Yeah,
That's the
character.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
He is the Conor McGregor of this movie. Yeah.
Yep.
And let's talk about how he meets his demise. Just a gnarly throat rip.
Throat rip.
Which is a callback to early in the film when in the bar they're talking about, he's like, he ripped a guy's throat out, and you think it's just a goofball story that's like legend, and then he fucking rips a guy's throat out later in the movie.
Somehow, I feel like the people that made Mortal Kombat watched this movie.
Yeah,
I just feel like
that is a very Mortal Kombat fatality move.
totally.
And he almost does the throat rip. He's got the three fingers out with the pinky down.
He's ready for
to
it.
Brad Wesley.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do it.
He's got the claw.
Now let's talk about for a second the shirt that Swayze wears throughout the film.
He wears a shirt?
Well, for part of it. And it's kind of like, but that's the thing. That's the thing about the shirt. It's like this half dress shirt, half kimono type deal, where like from the back it looks like a normal like white dress shirt, but then from the front it looks like a robe with no buttons, or it just kind of
It wraps.
it's a wrapper.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really shows off the chest and the chest hair, of which Mr. Swayze has none.
Yeah, that's true. He's got none.
Very cleanly shorn.
I can't picture him wearing a shirt. I cannot picture Patrick Swayze wearing a
But
shirt.
it's not very often. But here it is, right here. He's wearing it right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
See this like white?
Yeah, it is cool looking.
Look at this. So from the back normal, now it's like this kimono
Kimono.
look.
He wears it
Something
earlier.
Steven
In the
Seagal
front,
would wear.
It's
Yeah.
a very
Yes.
Steven
Yeah.
Seagal
Very Steven
type
Seagal.
garb.
He wears it earlier in the movie too, and I caught it on
I mean, look at that. I mean,
How did I not notice
Can
that?
we do that? Can we bring this back?
Oh my God, that's
2024.
amazing.
I want
he's
to
got
wear
some
this
chest
I
shirt.
feel like I
there.
want to be on the beach in the Cayman Islands wearing this motherfucking shirt right
and
here.
you're right, Gris. I'm sorry. He does have a bit of chest
He's
hair.
got a little
I'm
chest
sorry,
hair.
Mr. Swayze.
I bet he
No.
grew that
It's just
earlier in the
it-
movie. He was shaved clean.
That's a sad excuse for.
There's some stubble.
Yeah.
That butt though.
great
hair
ass.
on it.
What a great
That is
ass.
a hairless ass right there, ladies and gentlemen.
He shaved that.
hair.
In the
scene.
words of Al Pacino,
great ass.
he's got a great ass.
Can I just talk about Patrick Swayze a little bit, just
Yeah,
to
yeah,
round
yeah,
this
please.
out? Okay, I know we've been kind of going in and out, talking about him, laughing about his ass, whatever, calling him small, but I love Patrick Swayze's punch. He's got a great on-screen punch. The actors kind of have their trademark punches. You think of a Harrison Ford, he kind of throws his whole body into it. You kind of believe a Harrison Ford punch, right? He's clearly not trained to fight, but like he's got a great punch, and he breaks his hand every fucking time. Patrick Swayze, and I realize that the secret to his technique. He's got kind of that mane, kind of that big hair,
A
and
lion's
when he
mane.
punches, he jerks his head to where his hair kind of shakes, and it adds gravitas to the punch.
It adds that force.
So can I say my backup icebreaker was what actor has got the best punch?
Oh, that would have been a great one.
Yeah.
I don't know
appropriate.
I don't know who I'd answer.
There's a lot of great punchers out there.
Can I give you guys a fun fact about the last fight scene?
Dolph Lundgren. Go ahead.
It took them 5 days to film it,
With him and Jimmy on the
Yes.
shore there? Wow.
5
days?
Wow.
and he had to have his knee drained after like filming it.
Swayze did?
Swayze did.
Oh, fuck.
Because it took so much out of him. Like they literally just fought for 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good scene.
It's a good fight scene.
The fighting in this movie is pretty good, especially for like 1989. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
And we have to mention the new movie, The Fighting, was a new CG /
Oh my God.
mess.
I hate that new It's so Nick.
I
what
had to
they-
watch it behind the scenes
What they do
of
is they enhance the fight scenes with CG. It's almost like they trim some frames. So
It's like they're missing
the punch
frames.
hits quicker.
Yeah.
It's like
I know exactly
what you're
talking
inhuman the way that they fight.
They
Yeah.
called it a new age of fighting scenes
it's
or
so,
choreography.
It's so gimmicky.
So they
Yeah.
essentially shot it 3 times. They shot a slower version of you slowly punching the person in the face and him reacting. They showed a second one with a pillow on the actor's face, getting an actual half punch to the face, to the pillow. And then they shot like another one of the actual actor throwing a punch to, I think, nothing. And so they spliced all of them together, and it's just an absolute atrocious thing to look at.
It's terrible.
From the first scene of that movie, it was awful.
Every punch is a perfect
Everyone.
face punch, and
Why?
yet
Why would you
no
do
one's ever
that?
knocked out. No one's ever barely even bleeding.
Yeah, what was the point of I don't understand it. This movie was beautiful. It looked so real, and you could feel every punch.
Well, speaking of fighting, Mr. Wesley. I mean, for kind of an older,
Yeah, I was surprised
smaller gentleman, he
had
can
that-
scrap.
he had that
guy
run
can
at the end.
scrap.
Yeah.
When the first time
Yeah.
he beat the shit out of his own henchman right in front of his other ones, and he is like really getting like action out of those punches for an old guy.
Similarly, Sam Elliott, he was 45 when he shot this, but he actually did, I paid attention. He did a lot of physical acting. He did a lot of the
Oh, he
flips
did,
and the
yeah.
somersaults and the falls and the punches and stuff. I mean, he definitely had a stuntman, but he did a lot more than I thought he would have done.
Yeah, he really got stabbed in the chest at the last scene too.
Yep, all the way through the heart.
Yeah, it's funny. He's the washed, and actually, he was actually 43 in this movie to get super technical.
Oh, he was?
and to consider him a washed-up old guy at 43 makes me feel a little.
Makes you feel
Sad.
good. Yeah.
Am I washed-up old guy?
Wait, the movie came out in 89, right? So maybe did they shoot it in 88?
I'm
So
sure
he
they
was-
shot.
Okay,
I don't
so
know.
he was 43
According
when
to
they
Google,
shot
it said 43.
Okay.
I just that's the first
According to
thing I
my
saw on
Google, it said 44. So we all got
I
varying
looked-
degrees
I just
of
looked
searches.
I just looked at the year he was born and I subtracted 1989
I did, yeah.
89, but I'm realizing that's dumb because he could have been born in a different month and that's not when they shot
And they
it.
shot it
anyway,
before-
43.
anyway.
Yes, I'll be 42 in like 2 months. So like,
Yeah.
I
Are
should.
you
hope-
feeling washed up?
I hope,
not.
my pubes are still black.
Yeah, well, Sam Elliott's got a special thing going there.
So does Nick.
Special thing going there. Yeah. Oh my god, guys, that's about all I got. You guys got any more slow burning to do? Any more pube talk?
No more ass cheeks, pube talk,
Yeah, I
sweat.
A big one for me.
That's going to be our new segment, by the way. Pube talk.
Pube talk. All right, guys, pube talk. You guys, so we mentioned that there was a fat guy, good guy, and a fat guy, bad guy.
Right, yep.
They missed an opportunity to have these two geezers
Oh
go at
man,
it.
did they ever?
Really
Come
did.
on, just
Did
have these
they
two
ever?
guys go at it. You guys, we didn't talk about PMBP yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Poor man's
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
The bartender who gets fired.
Yep. Right
Yes.
off the bat.
Oh, I see
He
it.
looks like Bill Paxton.
Yeah, I
Yep.
see it.
Brian and I both made that comment and note. Brilliant.
Like it?
And then I had, what's the over-under on the total number of tables knocked over in this movie?
42.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta have a half.
You got to
in there.
set the line.
You gotta have a half. in there.
So 50 is the line. So you going over or under? So you're going under.
I'll go under.
I'll go under, but barely.
Not by much.
Yeah.
As a betting man, you got to put a half in there. That way, there's no
I'm going over.
split bets.
Yeah, it's the spirit of the question. I think that's it.
Degenerate gambler.
I had a couple of scenes that I really enjoyed. We talked about the turning the fuck into Buick. I thought that was really funny because it's his own club that he's walking into, and he sees the graffiti on the wall, and he kind of laughs and like he's like, "I'm gonna graffiti my own wall." And
I'm
it was just
smarter
kinda
than
funny.
everybody that comes to my bar.
Yeah, Tillman, he's just kind of like this weird guy, you know. We talked about Brad Wesley just swerving into oncoming traffic. Like
was a great scene,
like
yeah.
he has a death wish.
Love
you know? I didn't know why he did that. I love the 80s banger that Denise is working out
Yeah.
to when they go
And
into
Brad
the,
just is not going to have any of it.
he doesn't want to hear that. He says it
fuck
has no
off.
soul or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
got no soul. Yeah.
The rest of the music in this whole movie is all blues. It's all Jeff Healey band blues. But I loved that 80s track that was playing when Denise was working out, and that was called "Do You Really Want Me" by Christine Weitz. So that's a great song. And then guys, there's a scene. I don't know if you guys remember, but right before the throat rip scene, to start that scene, when Jimmy's riding off on his motorcycle or his dirt bike, man, Swayze just does a full spread eagle and just like
Tackles
fucking
him off the bike.
him off of that bike. That stunt work is really good.
Yeah.
That's a tough scene to orchestrate. A guy tackling a guy off of a dirt bike.
Yeah.
Before CGI.
Agree.
The
that was
timing
cool.
on that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
That was cool.
And then I just loved the end of this movie. I loved the we've kind of been slowly introduced to these townspeople throughout the movie. You've got Red as the first guy we know. You've got the automotive parts guy. You've got a couple other guys. You got the guy that leases the apartment to Dalton, and they all come together at the end. And I love how they all sort of finish off Wesley together. And it kind of serves the plot because then you can't really point to one person killing him because which is the shot that kills him,
Yep.
and then like who fired the shot, and this is before DNA evidence. So
We're
like, I
watching
just-
this now, but you also see all the guns disappear as the police show up. None of them have guns in their hands.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch that?
Well, they all give him to Red, and he kind of
Oh,
like takes
they-
them.
oh, I
collects
didn't
them,
see
and
that.
kinda
Okay.
just throws them off, and that's again. There's no DNA evidence, so it's like no smoking gun, no.
That's great.
No accusation or whatever. But anyway, I just love the fact that they all come together. It's kind of a town character arc a little bit, and the town is kind of won back in that moment. Those are the scenes I loved. This
I
movie.
also really love that he shoots the polar bear as it's falling on him.
yeah, like a lot of times.
A lot of times. He's not the smartest man.
Okay. I think we've hot pocketed the shit out of this.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's get into closing thoughts, guys. I'll start. I like this movie. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I don't think it's like some classic, it's not Citizen Kane. But it's good, and it's especially good for an 80s movie, I think. I think as Quentin Tarantino once said, the 80s was a very soft kind of decade for movies, with some definite exceptions, for sure. But I think this is one of those exceptions. I think this is a really good movie that actually pushes the limits of what movies were doing at the time. And I think it holds up pretty well today. And I suggest you watch it.
Yeah, I think the movie had heart. I think it had every right to be a terrible, cheesy action movie, B movie, but instead it stayed true to its original. You can tell it had a singular vision behind it. Somebody made this movie, and they knew what they wanted it to be, and they commanded the crew and the post-production and everything to just create this movie that was exactly what they wanted it to be. I think all the characters were really motivated. I think the story was compelling. Again, it's a Western, and those are always compelling to me. Story is really what plays in a Western more so than maybe necessarily like kind of meanings and characters and stuff like that. Because you don't have a lot to work with in a Western. You got one location usually, or the locations are all kind of the same.
Yep.
And then I love a protagonist with a dark past. I'll just always eat that up. Dalton has this dark past that he's got to deal with, and he deals with it by the time that the movie's over. And I've got a soft spot for that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I rated this an 83, and I hold that strong. It's awesome. I think it's outrageously funny. The quotes from this movie are endless. I could watch this 10 more times and find more quotes every time I see it. The characterization of Dalton and how he has a little bit of mystery, and I had to kind of piece together a few things. That's brilliant. But then I never even connected it to a Western until I watched it, and I was like, oh, that's really simple. But I think they did it in a complex way that, the last scenes are great. People need to watch this movie. I think it's amazing. Don't go watch the new one. Just go straight to the classic.
Hey, real quick question. Would you say this is, who is the audience for this? Is this a movie that girls would like to? I know it seems
I think
like
so.
an 80s.
It's got kind of a pretty
got the
strong love story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Because
a lot of romance.
my wife is asking me, like, should
and
I watch
Swayze's
it?
butt.
Yeah.
What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah,
I know.
What are you
And
talking
my
about?
answer to her
Your
was
wife,
like, yeah, I think you're going to like the movie.
Yeah,
Even though there's like the violence and the manliness, it's like,
there's
I
a
feel
lot
like
of
it
eye candy
has
in
a
there
broad
for fun.
appeal.
Yeah.
Caitlin loved it.
Did she? Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of deep themes we talked about, but there's also so many funny moments where you could legitimately laugh out loud at this, especially if you're in a group. And there's a lot of great, just deep themes, and I love it.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening, dear listener. We're going to do another episode, as we always threaten to do.
Oh, good.
And so the next episode, we're going to do Blow. We're going to do Blow.
Now, what movie are we going to do?
We're going to do a movie, too. Got him. We're going to do some Blow, and we're going to do some Blow. So, Johnny Depp and Tuna. We're ready for it.
So it's going to be basically the opposite feel of the Half-Baked episode?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Might be energized.
A little more up tempo.
Yeah.
Sure. We think it'll be a fun one. We know a lot of people have seen it, and we know a lot of people have opinions on it, so it's going to be, we're into it.
And it's a critical mess.
It's a critical mess. That's
Thank
right.
goodness.
That's right.
They call it
So
we still
there's
have
this
those.
thing. I hear there's this thing. Social.
You can call it just the Insta. Did you know that?
Okay.
It's either Insta or the Insta or catch me on my Insta.
The Insta.
Did you get that from
my
the kids?
Insta. Instacart.
I feel like I heard someone say that one time.
Instagram.
Slide in our DMs.
I read that on MySpace.
Oh, definitely slide into our DMs. We'll maybe reply to them.
Well, anyways, we're at http://
Wait, how many T's? 3 T's.
Find us on
Instagram.com.
Spotify and Apple and give us a rating.
Yeah.
Hell
Chris,
yeah.
you want to
Spotify.
say what it
Please
actually
give
is?
us a
Because I'm
rating.
not smart enough to know.
It is at Critical Mess Crew on Instagram. Hit us
And
up.
also give us a rating on Apple
Yeah.
or Spotify.
Or Spotify. Yeah.
Absolutely. Send us a comment.
It would be
everything.
super helpful to boost us.
Yes. More eyes.
We would
more
love
listens.
that. Give us a shitty rating. We don't care. Just
Yeah.
give us a rating.
I mean,
I just want something new to read.
Yeah, no, actually, we'd like a good rating. Never mind. Scratch that.
Actually, please
give us a
rate
good
us
rating.
good.
We just want to engage. Anyway, we think if you made it this far, you're a fucking rock star, and we love you, and we're going to catch you on the next episode.
See ya.
Later.